Hi, I'm Grant, this is Dad Crafted, and this is part 3 of the Star Wars miter saw station build. Alright, let's go! If you haven't already, please be sure to check out the first 2 parts of the build. I'll have those linked down below in the description and probably some stuff floating up above the video and all that. But in part 1 of the series, I showed how I formed the box, how I filled the wood grain, and how I formed the hood. In part 2, I showed how I did the greebles and how I did the cool weathering effects to make it look like it came out of a Star Wars movie. But in this part, we're talking about finishing the hood with lights and windows, how the dust collection works, and final assembly. That's right, this is the final episode of the Miter Saw Station trilogy.
You know, sometimes I amaze even myself.
Alright, let's go! For the lighting, I routed out a channel around the bottom and around the back and the roof of the hood. I used a 1/2 inch router bit to route that channel, and I made it about 1/4 inch deep, just deep enough so the lights could sit in there flush. This worked out nice because it was really a snug fit as I put the lights down inside that channel. There's an adhesive back strip on the lights, but I was kind of worried that over time that would probably give out and the lights would start falling. But because the channel was exactly the thickness of the strip, it really is, I think, over time, gonna help hold that in there. And here we go. Yeah. Make it red, buddy. Oh yeah. Dun 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 dun. The window panels are all made from plexi. This is a 1/4 inch strip. I think I bought one 4 foot by 4 foot panel and then cut everything down to fit for the size that I needed. For the decorations on the windows, I used green pinstriping tape. Since I don't own a laser cutter, this was the best option I could think of to make it kind of look like those Star Wars Rebel-based computer screens that you see in the movies. To attach the window on the front panel, I just used 2-part epoxy, let it sit. That thing's probably never coming off. I used some glass frosting spray to kind of dull the windows. I just really didn't like how they looked when they were super clear and super see-through. There probably is some dust that still happens inside this hood, and I kind of want to hide it. To get the windows to stay in, I used little metal glazier points that you would typically see in the back of a picture frame. Hopefully I don't have to ever take these out, so sticking those in there worked nice. But if I ever do, just use a knife, they should pop right out. All right, let's finally talk about how we made this front panel removable. In order to attach the front panel and make it removable, I'm going to use these nuts and these magnets. So I'm going to use some epoxy. We're going to glue the nuts inside of these things, and we're going to glue the magnets onto the back of the panel in 4 corners. That way the magnet should be strong enough to hold the panel in place, and if I need to ever remove it to make compound miter cuts, I can just take the panel off, make the cut, put it back on. More pocket holes. But along with the side rods and the magnets, I also added a couple bottom stopper pieces that the front panel could rest on, and also a strip across the top so it wouldn't fall backwards. And mainly just to block the lights that were inside the hood. weathering on the panel complete, I just had to add my greebles. And then this thing can pop off and back on pretty easily. Let's do a demo. Dust collection. I got my dust collector from Harbor Freight, pretty much the cheapest thing I could find on the market, but honestly, it had just as much horsepower as everything else I could find, and the price point was awesome. I also bought their kit that includes extra hoses and blast doors and connectors. I think it was an extra $50 or $60, but in this case, it was definitely well worth it, and I plan to use every piece in that kit. I chose to do 2 connection points at the base of the saw, mainly because that's what Bob did for my like to make stuff. Seemed to work for him, why not? Box myself into a corner. After doing all that, I remembered I had a Dremel multi-tool that could have just cut straight down. I used a blast door in the back of the box because maybe someday I'll want that closed and add more dust collection throughout the shop. And then I used a divider on the inside so that the tubing could go to both ports. Again, maybe this would have worked better with just one port in the middle, but I guess I'll never know. So this little yellow contraption is called an automated vacuum switch. I found it on Amazon and the link will be down below in the description. But basically what it will do is turn the saw into the on-off switch. So whenever I power the saw on, that'll kick the dust collector on and the dust collector will stay on the entire time the saw is on. Once you release the saw, that stays on for an extra 5 seconds and then powers off automatically. Putting in drawers, I always tend to cross my fingers and just hope and pray that I measured correctly and these things are actually going to fit and slide easily. Things rarely work out for me this well. It's actually worked. Yeah. But with all the greebles, maybe make sure that you're not putting things on upside down. I just did that upside down. Ah! Demo time, people.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
Nobody wants to hear from you, Captain. We need a more regal announcement.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station. Fire at will, Commander.
That thing's operational.
That's right, Lando. Fully operational. And with that, the Star Wars Miter Saw Station trilogy is complete. I'd like to thank you guys for coming along the journey. Of course, if you haven't already, I don't know why you'd watch this and not watch the other two parts, but if you haven't, go check those out or watch them again. They probably need a few extra views, you know? Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We've got a bunch of awesome stuff coming in the future, including how I'll probably expand on my Star Wars shop furniture to put some things on the side so that I could actually cut longboards on this. It's a bit difficult at the moment. If you have any ideas for improvements, how I could have made this thing better, how I could have made this thing better, or what you think I should do on each side of this thing, I'd love to hear about that in the comments. Comment away. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one. I'll have those linked grain. But in this part, we're talking about finishing the hood, doing the lighting, doing the dust collection, something else, how the dust collection works. But in this part, we're talking about something. I was doing so good until we got here. How the dust collection works. Why can't I remember the third thing? What is it? It's the final assembly.